Hello, welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I am Allison Troy, and I am uh, doing a live stream today so that I can work on my 1984 Masters of the Universe coloring book. I printed this out from a vintage book that I scanned and cleaned up. And yeah, so goal is in 2024, I'm going to finish every page from this vintage book. Either on a live stream or in a short or maybe in longer form videos. Some of them will probably be color and chill. So anyway, there are 2 pages. Well, I'm going to start with this one. Possibly, if I finish this before the 2 hours is up, I might start this one. This one was voted for about 2 months ago on the community tab. I put about 8 pages up. And I picked one, the top one, and did that the first time. And this was like 3rd or 4th chosen. I took the top 4 and set them aside. And this is the 4th. If I don't get to this one today, I'll probably not do this one because I am going to put a few more pages up for people to vote on for next time I do one of these Fridays. So anyway. Go ahead and get started. Let's see. And anyway, we've got Skeletor here making chemicals. So that's not something that happened a lot in Filmation. I don't remember him doing a lot of potions. I don't actually remember it happening a lot in any of the materials. So yeah. But you know, this was 1984. A lot of these were drawn and would have been drawn in 82, 83 when they were still figuring out the story and what everything was. So we do occasionally get a couple outliers like this. I mean, he did use to a degree magic, but this is a very much more scientific looking situation. You know, we do have sort of a witch's cauldron, but these are really fancy bottles. So I'm going to say this is way more of a experiment. That's something that Hordak tended to do more. So I don't know if maybe as this brand and the characters evolved, whether or not they took the sciencey stuff away. So let's see. Hello, Stanley's Toy Channel. Welcome. Good to see you. And oh, that's a good reminder. I'm going to move it to solo layout so that this is the main thing that people see when they show up today. So yeah, I'm just going to sort of start with the background. And I picked out a couple purple pencils from my Starjoy Gold set. I like using these for backgrounds. So I'm going to use purple because I'm assuming he's in Snake Mountain. And if he sharpens a little bit, because I do tend to use these purples a lot. They're pretty handy for Princess of Power and some of the Barbie stuff I do also. Let's see. I am doing pretty well today. I have the day off of my day job, and I believe Monday is President's or some sort of federal holiday. I need to double check. But which means I'm probably off on Monday too, which is cool because I didn't realize that. So I got this week a new office chair, which that's what I, obviously use to do this. And I got a drafting table. So I'm going to get to put those together this weekend so that I will have a better setup for coloring pages as well as when I do live streams, because right now I just use my regular workspace that I also use for my day job. And it can be a little bit of a, like if I have to set everything up because I don't obviously have the same setup for work that I use when I live stream or even when I just color to film them. So I have to take all the camera stuff down, and all the lights have to change a little bit. So it'll be nice to have sort of that drafting table set up so that I can just work on. It means I won't necessarily have to, if I start a page, it's late and I'm tired, it's a lot easier just to sort of cover the table and then go to bed and then just start back again the next day. So it'll be nice. It also will have less shakiness of the camera because I will have a different setup for the camera mount. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good. Hopefully I get all that set up tomorrow. Definitely need the new chair because this chair is old and worn, and it can be very uncomfortable sitting in it for hours. So, hello, Kayla. It always throws me when I see Silver K. I'm always like, wait, that's Kayla, right? But it's Kayla. Infamous Kayla from Geek the F Out. Good to see you, Kayla. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, like, I don't know, pretty good. That was a really long-winded answer to your question, Stanley, but I'm doing pretty good today. So how are you doing? Then I should also, because when it's just me, we always put the ducks on, so it doesn't sound quite so weird and quiet. There we go. I also find it a little easier to talk whenever there's the background music. So just gonna go in with this purple and give him a background. It's a darker purple, so some of his armor will technically sort of blend a little bit, but that's all right. It's gonna be about, I'm gonna try to get really colorful with sort of the smoke and stuff, and try to put some reflections on like his armor and his hood and the gloves, because this artist always draws Skeletor in gloves, which is a fun choice. So, but he also draws Skeletor a lot sort of skinnier than elsewhere. It looks a lot more like old beefy dude rather than sort of buff Skeletor that we're used to. So, but again, this was really early in the toy line, and most of these pictures were drawn before Filmation, and then some of them were drawn after. So mid to late 1983, which I think is part of why this book is fun for me and a good one for me to work on, because I prefer pre-Filmation, but also like some of the Filmation elements. So it's a pretty good mix. Oh, well, good. What was? Well, I hope you had fun in South Carolina. I have not been to either Carolina yet. Hopefully that will change. I have a really good friend I went to high school with who lives in North Carolina, and another one who lives in South Carolina. So any luck in the next year or two, I'll get a chance to fly out yonder and go visit them. Because one of them, like, we went to school, so we saw each other every day at school, but she and I also would hang out on the weekends and ride bikes to each other's house and throw rocks at alligators. So that's one of the things you do in Louisiana as a child. And go out and have fun, play in the bayou, throw rocks at alligators. Simple stuff. Things every kid would do. As you know. Alright, let's see. So I'm gonna go back. I also add with this more. This is a sort of more pinkish purple. I'm gonna use that to do a little bit of. So there's just not a wall of purple, or sort of that dark purple. Give it a little shade behind some stuff. Oh, nice. Yeah, I see. Where I grew up, we had to drive a long ways everywhere. So drives. I don't know if I could do it now because I don't drive a lot. Where I'm at in Oregon, we have pretty good public transportation. So I take the buses and the trains a lot. It's cheaper than putting gas, and as I get older, I hate people that drive poorly. And my definition of driving poorly is basically anyone who's driving in a way that annoys me, which varies depending on how late I'm running or how stressed I am about other things. Most of these people were probably driving very appropriately, but I was just so I was like, I could save some money by not driving as much and taking transit, and then I can sit and read or play a mobile game or surf the internet or argue with losers on Facebook while I'm on a train or a bus. It's very pleasant. It's much easier to argue with them on the, like on your mobile phone or whatever on the bus than having to drive a car and sit there and think about what you're gonna tell them and then just work yourself up more. So I highly recommend if you're gonna get into a Facebook argument with somebody, do it in the moment, because the longer you sit on it and work it up, the more mad you get. And sometimes you get so mad that what you say in response isn't as good as it is in the moment. At least for me. I can fire off a good sassy comment in the moment a lot better than I can if I sit and think about it too long. But there are probably others who it's different. They need that time to build it up. But not me. So yeah. What are your plans for the weekend, Stanley? There we go. Almost done. Yeah, some people do, Kayla. Like, I don't. Whatever your online internet fight mode is best. If you need the time to work it out, I recommend it. If you're gonna blast somebody on the internet for being stupid, definitely work smart. Not hard or smart. And if you need more time to get that blistering comment so that it's a perfect, it's the shot and takes out the AT Walker like in Star Wars. Let's make it nerdy. We're here doing nerd things today. I'm gonna get one shot to blow up the Death Star. Which reminds me, the last person I got into an argument with when we worked together, we called them Death Star. Because they thought they were a star and they had terrible breath. It was like death warmed over when they would breathe in your face. So, I may or may not have been the person who came up with that. I can't decide whether or not it's rude or funny to give people nicknames. At the time it was hilarious, but as I get older and rethink about things I did 2 or 3 years ago, I don't know if calling that person the Death Star was as nice. 2021 me was much meaner. Oh, I need to catch. I think I'm a video or 2 behind Stanley, so I'm gonna. After this, I'm gonna. Obviously, it's lunchtime by then, so I'm gonna eat lunch, feed the cats, and then while I'm having lunch, I'm gonna catch up on my because I put everyone in a playlist. Speaking of cats, cat violence in the background. If you hear crashing, that's what it is. Because the new chair and the drafting desk are here, things are moved about. And some of them are boxes, so cats and boxes. And the youngest kitten now does this thing where he wants to play, but the older cats don't want to play, so he'll go and make this sound like he's hurt. And when they go check on him, he attacks. So they'll go running up like, oh my god, what's wrong with this poor little kitten? And then all of a sudden he flies at their butt and attacks, and they get mad and run off. And it's really funny, but also at the same time, it's very devious, which is not necessarily something you want to see in a kitten. So anyway, they're maybe crashing as the cats explore the world of boxes, and the kitten does his kitten things. Okay, so let's see. What do I'm sort of thinking I shouldn't have gone quite so literal with the shelf and done it brown as if it's just regular wood. But I'm gonna get colorful with all of those jars and stuff, so probably a normal wood look is probably best, so that it's not, especially with the purple wall. I'm gonna get to, I don't know, that seems like it would have been more fun if I made it like a neon green or something, but just regular wood will do, as Kayla will tell you. Yeah, I'm not second guessing now. I'm second guessing the second guessing. I think normal wood is good. So people of the world breathe a sigh of relief. Your normal wood is good. Alright, there we go. And nope, that's a dark shade. What I do need is a darker brown. I'm gonna get this sepia and just sort of darken. I'm gonna darken this wood so it's not quite so bright, because I want most of the brightness to be all the chemicals in the bottles. I don't necessarily want the shelf to be jumping out and grabbing everyone's attention. So I'll quickly just go in and do that. Yeah, I figured you appreciate that, Kayla. I know my audience. But it's sort of a nice thing when you're in that sort of, there's this in-between place on YouTube I've noticed with creators sort of I know when I've watched grow, where it's like their community's like at a nice sort of smallish to large spot, and like it's easy to keep track of everyone and chat and sort of know what your audience likes, and then you sometimes hit that point eventually where it's just so big. It's so big, Kayla. It's so big you just don't know how to handle it properly. But yeah, so it's, right now if I release a short and it doesn't do super well, but YouTube shows it to a lot of people I know, like people do not want to watch that again. So I do it anyway because I'm still at a point where I'm trying to remember that a lot of this needs to make me happy. So I don't know. I also think people who have bigger channels who like don't do certain videos because like they're not going to get a lot of views on it, I also worry about that. Like that to me seems like you're going to start hating what you do. And I want to like this as long as I possibly can, because if I don't like it, I don't think I'm going to keep doing it. But that sounds like common sense, and not everybody practices common sense, I guess. So, just a second. Gentlemen, chill the fuck out. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Cats. As you probably heard, one of them sassed me. That's the kitten. He literally will like sass me back anytime I tell him to get out of stuff. Luckily, he's about to go see the vet so that he can't make kittens. So I'm hoping that calms some of his attitude down. Alright. There we go. Alright, so I've completed the wooden plank shelf behind Stellator, which shows even Snake Mountain had its college phase where people just put a single 4x4 plywood thing up on the wall to stack stuff. Even our supervillains have that cheap college face where they broke. Hello, Giraffe. Welcome. Right? He's fixing a drink. Let's see. Let me catch up really quick. I'm glad you found that too. Yeah, that's one of the things like I've enjoyed is the community that I've sort of ended up with. Exactly. And just everyone's saying hello. So yeah, I'm gonna use this bright red for at least one of these jugs, because why not? Also, red doesn't really go with purple, so I'm just gonna go for it. So it'll clash a little bit. My college professor used to get mad because I would use red and purple all the time. But that particular professor didn't like anything I did anyway, so nothing was ever good enough for him. Which, makes sense. He was in his 50s, single, never been married, miserable, and he smelled like old sadness, so it makes sense he didn't like any of my art, because I don't make art for people like that. I bet he has really strong opinions about The Last Jedi. Or he would if he's probably dead by now. He'd be like 8,000 now. So. R.I.P. Bozo. I think that's what the kids say on Twitter. But yeah, no, every assignment I turned in, he was just not having it. So. I'm like, Courtney. No. That girl was an I don't actually know that. I remember if I was close to her. Courtney, because she looks like Courtney after a bender. And if she got into a fist fight and had to reconstruct her face afterwards. Alright, I'm going to do this one sort of a bright yellow. It's a sunburst yellow for those who care about the colors of what I'm using. I'm going to go in with this. It's called Spanish Orange. Don't cancel me. I didn't make up the name. I don't know what makes it Spanish. That's what they call it. And then I just sort of blend the two so that it has a little bit of a gradient to it. And some shadow and some reflection. So there we go. All right. Next, I'm going to do some green. Right. Yeah, they're jugs, Kayla. He's got a big jug, and these two jugs are about the same, but this jug is a little bit bigger than the other. That happens sometimes. Jugs are not always symmetrical. I learned that in health class. Sometimes one jug may be a little bit lower than the other and have a slightly different shape, and that's just how jugs are made. Yeah, some jugs have like chemicals, some have no. Either way. Your jugs are fine. We don't jug shame around here. Unless one of these jugs were to say eat, live, laugh, love, then I would have some like judgment, because yeah. My aunt, when she and I still spoke, actually sent me one year for Christmas this little picture framed portrait. She probably got like a Pier 1 when they were still open, or like Pottery Barn, or one of those stores that she thinks are super fancy, but they're just really expensive. And it was this framed pic, and the frame was like made out of seashells or something, and it said "Live, Laugh, Love" in it. And yeah. So, needless to say, I did not live, laugh, love that gift. But she meant well. No, she did. She's horrible. I need to stop pretending like she ever was a good person. And if she's watching this, I hope she remembers that when she dies, I'm gonna go to her grave and poop on it. So, not that she would. She doesn't even know what YouTube is. I'm gonna do this one in cobalt turquoise, so it's a sort of greenish turquoise. It's pretty dark. Like my jokes. I'm just kidding. My jokes aren't that dark. Alright, and then I'm going to go in with this. It's yellow chartreuse. I'm going to go in with that. And it's going to make the cobalt a little bit more green, but it's okay. I kind of want it to look as though there's something inside of it that's glowing, like this cobalt. This particular one is maybe a little opaque, but not quite. And so I'm going to give it an unholy glow because it is Skeletor's lab. I would assume some of this is toxic and doesn't meet OSHA standards, as you know, like the type of container he has it in. Like he would probably fail all safety checks, and then drop the safety regulation person down like a trapdoor. And then let's see. I'm just gonna do this last one and do a yellow again. Start with this little bit that's left of the Spanish orange. So I go like that. There we go. And then I'll use the yellow ochre instead. So that it's not quite the same yellow. I'm just going to go in and do round things so it almost looks like it has like some sort of bevelness on it or like some texture. Because, you know, I at least want them to look different and have some variance. He may be a Lord of Destruction, but I would assume he has at least a little bit of an aesthetic. I mean, you know, he has his outfit is color coordinated, so he at least understands color theory to some degree. And he did pick a color that matches like his blue skin, so I want to offend Skeletor. Alright, let's see. I should do this this desk or table, whatever it is. But it looks like there's like a pop out right here. So I don't know if this is like one of those big wheels like you get sushi on and it just revolves, or if it's just just put there to make it look interesting. So I'm gonna pretend that whatever's in it is like green and glows. So I'm gonna start with this spring green. Maybe it's a little like the middle of the table has a little slime thing or something in it. Like my friend Pam, there's a little slime in the middle. I'm gonna go with this darker grass green right along the edges. It's kind of if you're wanting to create any sort of a glow effect, that's kind of the secret to glow effects. You want the lighter color in the middle, and then around the edges you go a little bit darker. And that, because of the light to dark, it creates that illusion as if it's glowing. And I'm going to notch that up a little bit. I'm going to go in with an even lighter green for the inside there. But it's pretty easy to do glow effects once you sort of get that down. Sometimes think I should do little shorts with like glow effects or hair or whatever. Here's how you make Skeletor's face look like it's real. But I don't know. It might be fun though, so. But so yeah, now I'm going in with the chartreuse, which is green, not the yellow that I used up here. I'm just gonna blend it all in so that those lines that I used for the green aren't as prominent and don't look sort of like lines. That again helps with that glow effect because it makes it all sort of blurry, and then it all blends it together so it's got more of a light look to it. I still have not resolved whatever StreamYard does that snatches the autofocus, so I do know that some of this is going to go in and out as I do this. As always, this page will be up on Instagram when I'm done, so if you want to get a better look at it. And as always, if you're somebody watching this who does want sort of the coloring tip side of it, please let me know, like in comments and stuff. I'm happy to. Like if people want little videos about sort of how I do certain things, I'm happy to make little videos about that. So, you know, don't feel like you can't reach out. It's a small. I have a small enough. I currently have a small enough subscriber base that it's easy to sort of. I had somebody over on TikTok ask me to do some birthday bear, Care Bear stuff, so I'm totally gonna be doing that. So, right, let me check on chat. Yeah, I bet some of them are poison. I would agree. Well, hello, Tony. Welcome. I wish he was making a Long Island iced tea. That's my favorite drink. That and a vodka martini, extra dirty, with the olives. I ordered a martini once in a bar. Well, it was a happy hour bar / restaurant, and the guy was like, well, how dirty do you want it? And I'm like, the only thing that needs to be dirtier than that martini is me. So he and I are friends on Instagram still, because that's one way to make your waiter enjoy your company. I think that was the night he came after his shift ended and came and sat with me and my friends and had a few drinks. Got free drinks that night, so that was cool. Definitely, I say, Stanley, I don't know if you need to do more. Like, I definitely recommend everyone try shorts to see if it, you know, like helps. With what I do, shorts are really helpful. There are a lot of people who maybe don't want to watch something like this where I sit here and talk to you guys. Because not everyone, surprisingly, not everyone thinks I have the best personality. Not everyone thinks I'm the ray of sunshine that I obviously am. I mean, people are like, you talk too much, and I'm like, whatever, why do you think I'm on YouTube? Like, anyway, so I do the shorts with just the coloring and the music, and there are some people who really dig that, but would never watch this. There are a lot of videos right now with people who give YouTube advice are like, don't do shorts, they'll kill your channel. I don't agree. I think the trick to shorts is to make shorts intending it to be for an audience of people who want to watch short content and who don't, like, if you're making it sort of to get people to come back and watch your longer stuff, it's probably not going to work, because people who like shorts like that short, less than a minute content. They don't really want to come watch something like this, and that's fine. Like, you know, so and there are some people who watch both, so that it also could work as a quote unquote trailer for your channel where they like your short content and then they want to come watch your longer stuff. But just don't, I just recommend, if you start doing shorts, not to treat it like it's going to make, you know, if you get 5 or 6 subscribers through shorts, keep in mind that those people probably are not going to be interested in the longer stuff, so you'll want to keep a game plan as far as short content to keep those people around. But definitely do them, because anything you can do, as long as you enjoy doing this stuff. Like, I don't make any content right now I don't like. I did one video one time of some content I did not enjoy, and I actually went into leave of that video, and I'm just not going to do that stuff anymore, because it's not that it didn't get good views, it was only up a day. You know, like, when you're smaller, a day is not really long enough. But I just realized I didn't want to do more like that, and I was afraid I would get a lot of subscribers from that one video, and then you would lose this. So yeah, just if you don't want to do shorts, don't do shorts, but if you're interested and you can think of ideas, do it. YouTube, if you're doing YouTube, it needs to be fun. because the people who make a lot of money at it are far and few between, and few of us are ever going to hit that level where like you're doing YouTube and that's your whole job. So make sure you love whatever you're doing, make content you want to watch, and you'll be fine. If you ever make a video and afterwards you're like, I wouldn't even watch that, don't make that kind of video again. Especially if it gets a lot of views, because then you will start hating being on YouTube. So that's my advice. Obviously, grain of salt it, but at the same time, like, I assume all of us here are doing what we're doing because it's something we love. The quickest way to hate something you love is to do some aspect of it you don't like, or to make something you're not 100% into. So anyway, that's my advice. But definitely do some shorts. I think with the content you're making right now, Stanley, like some shorts would probably do you good. Like, I think you would probably enjoy doing a couple shorter, especially when you're doing unboxings and reviews. You could easily sort of edit those into shorts and then, you know, and get a bunch of people enjoying it that maybe don't watch longer stuff but would enjoy your shorts. So it's nothing to say you can't repurpose stuff you've already filmed to make a solid short. Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, yeah, right. Well, you can. It's harder to blend it when you're using blending color pencils. You can do it even with sort of the Crayola box of color pencils, which a lot of times people are like, oh, they're so cheap, they must be bad. You don't get the same greatness of blending. Because a lot of that comes down to how much wax and how much oil is used, and the cheaper your pencil, the less wax and oil it's going to have in it. So one of the reasons you'll often hear people talking about Prismacolor, which is what I predominantly use, is because it's got a really good mix of wax and oil. So like you can get some really nice blends and you can create some good effects and some nice colors. But you don't actually need, you can do the blend with any color pencil. It's just not going to be as bright or as intense. But the fact is, unless you're selling your art, it's not as big of a deal. Like, you can't get the best blends because you're only using Crayola, like, but you're only doing it because you like it and it makes you happy. Like, I don't think you need to worry so much about getting the most fancy thing. If you enjoy it way more, if you are using, you know, sort of more of an artist premium pencil, then yeah, get the stuff you like. Like, it should be fun. Especially with adult, sort of coloring as an adult, if you're just doing it for the coloring side of it. Part of the point that got everybody into it was that it's good for your stress relief. It helps you relax, it helps your mind unwind, but it also engages your mind. So like, it's not sort of mindlessly doing something. You're actually having to sort of pay a little bit of attention. You're having to use your imagination. You're having to do some active, engaged thinking. So it's, you know, pretty good for you. I've noticed, you know, because I've pretty much talked about it. I don't like to talk about it, not because I'm ashamed, but because it's sort of a bummer. But I've dealt with, like, you know, pretty intense depression, and I will say, like, a lot of my depression has been better since I've started doing the adult coloring thing, which was unexpected. So I am a fan just for that, the therapeutic side of it. But I think any art you do for yourself, you're gonna have the same result. So if it's not coloring for you, if you like getting like that, like Play-Doh, even if you want to get Play-Doh and make stuff, you should do that. Because it's just about engaging your brain. I think as we get older, we're sort of discouraged from using our imagination in ways like playing with action figures or buying action figures or coloring or whatever. I think that's why so many adults are really unhappy, is like, we're encouraged to stop doing stuff we like because it's for kids or whatever. But that's where you get all of your imagination and fun and everything. So I say, you know, if you want to start sculpting, get some cheap Play-Doh and just play with it and start there. You know, and it's sad that we live sort of in a world where we're often told not to do stuff that makes us happy so that we can be miserable as adults. And that's Allison on art. Should put that on a shirt. Yeah, and this is sort of, this is the part of the adult coloring that I don't enjoy as much as sort of the big table here. It's one of the there are a couple of reasons I do like everything except the main thing first. First, in the beginning, it was because I would do that and then I'd get bored and would not enjoy the rest of the coloring, and also people would stop watching the shorts after I finished the main thing. And so I was like, well, if I want people to watch this, I probably need to save the good part until a little bit later in the video. And but I've noticed I enjoy the picture. I enjoy coloring the whole page way more now that I do it that way, because I'm sort of working toward the part I like best. But with this page, actually, like, I was excited about the jars, so it was really cool to do the jugs and the jugs. I'm just gonna call them jugs instead of jars. Those are jugs. But I was excited about the jugs. I'm excited about trying to figure out what to do with the smoke. I don't know, the stuff that's not normal, you know, everyday coloring page sort of excites me when I get to do it. Sort of why I do as many shorts as I do is I actually look forward to, you know, sitting down to color a page and have that time. I'm going to figure out stuff, so. I feel super fortunate I figured out a way to put stuff on YouTube that I like doing. Alright, so table is mostly done. I'm likely gonna go after the stream is done, after I have lunch. When I do usually on the live streams do a little cleanup. Because you know, like, I only do this for like 2 hours. When I do a short, I would take more time with this, and there's a few things I'm going to want to clean up on this table. But I'll do that after stream. So when you see these after stream, like on Instagram, and you think that looks slightly different, one, it's partly because the autofocus issue that StreamYard is having with phones, but it's also because I will go in and sort of clean up little bits that I don't like. Alright, good for now. It's pretty good though, I'm happy with that. Hello, Chris. Why, thank you. Definitely, it's a fun image. Like, originally I was gonna, this was when Bud from My Buddy's Custom and I were planning for him to join me for a Sunday live stream. This was one of the pages he picked. And then he wasn't well, and I was also not well, so we just didn't stream that day. But he and I did do a pre-record, which will actually be on the channel next month. But by the point we finally got to coloring it, he had picked a different Skeletor page. So we did that instead for our pre-record. So I was like, I'm definitely gonna stick this in the running for, you know, for one of my Friday streams where I work on this book. Yeah, that'll be probably, let me see. not the 17th, but like the weekend of the 24th, I'm going to, the 17th and the 24th, I have various things going on in the real world where streaming on the Sunday is not logistically applicable. But I do have 2 pre-records for both of those days. So there'll still be some Sunday content, and I'll be able to hop into chat for the premiere of those. So those were fun. Like, I had a good time hanging out with Bud and talking Motu and whatnot. So, but yeah, so this was one of the pages he picked, and I had thrown it in because I had the community vote on it. I was like, well, I'll let him have the chance to do one of the cool pages, and then he picked different pages. So, not gonna complain because I get to do this today. Yeah, there are a couple pages in this 1984 coloring book that I'm not looking forward to coloring, because they just are kind of dull or boring. And I've been looking at those like, ugh, why did I have to set this as a goal and talk about it? But I did, and I will. That'll probably be a stream where it's like, have everyone vote to pick like from the pages I like the least. So at least we'll be on a live stream where I can talk to people, sort of diffuse the unhappiness. You know, that's really good headcanon, Chris. Like, I like that headcanon. Like, that's perfect. Only Johnny were here to hear about that headcanon story. I bet he would appreciate it. Maybe I should do that. I could start doing that as shorts. Have everyone write little headcanon about some of these pages. And then do little shorts. Headcanon of famous YouTubers. Chris Plastic. What's going on in this page? Should have made his wall red so that, you know, because you know Snake Mountain has at least 2 or 3 ghosts in it that would be really mad about a red wall. Alright. I'm going to go in with sort of a brighter blue to do the shading on his musculature. It's a word you don't say often. Musculature. And I feel like my southern accent just came out trying to say that. So we're not going to be saying that word again. I'm going to shade his muscles again. I've worked too long and too hard to mostly stifle my southern accent to have it come rising up. Like Dracula. Alright. Shading is looking pretty good, I think. Alright. And go ahead and do the base yellow for his face. Oh, and I accidentally grabbed neon yellow, which was not what I meant to grab for his face. But I guess it works out because he is messing with chemicals. I was going to use the neon yellow elsewhere, so it kind of works. Alright, so go back to the spring green for this first bottle. And this is probably his Gatorade, so he can stay hydrated in the lab. I think it's really important when you're mixing caustic chemicals. They dry your skin out, and we can see that Skeletor has dry skin. So, do this bottle as though it's one, slightly translucent again. So I like the idea of a translucent bottle. Also make it a little glowy. Like maybe it's like a thermos of his table slime. He scoops it in there and gets some slime out so that he can have a tasty beverage. I'm gonna go in on top of that again with the chartreuse. So give it sort of that glowy thing. Excellent. Looks pretty glowy. And then okay, this is some cork. Alright, there we go. And then here's a jar of cold cream, I think. So let's do that. Do that like in pink. And this is hot pink for the like main color of it. There we are. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but it's not what I said. So I feel like sometimes we're on the same mind with Chris. I would say Man at Arms probably got that endorsement because, you know, we can tell he drinks a lot of the green Gatorade. Probably the orange too if you look at his armor. Nobody drinks that yellow Gatorade though. I know technically they all taste alike, but as a kid I always imagined the yellow stuff tastes like pee because it kind of looks a little like pee. Never fully trusted the yellow Gatorade. It's like, what is it hiding? Why does it taste like sweat? Why does it look like urine? So, I was pretty paranoid as a kid though. Alright, and there we go. That's a pretty solid cold cream jar for Skeletor's skin there. Stay hydrated. Alright, for this little jar right here, I'm going to go with a shade-ish of purple. It's mulberry. It's called mulberry, so it's sort of a purplish, pinkish, almost magenta, but not quite. Miss that. I think I'm gonna use just. I don't know that I'm gonna go in with a different color. I think I'm just gonna use pressure and shading to sort of give it the look and texture like there's actual glass or something. There we go. Alright, that looks pretty good. Gatorade AM. Sounds like a radio show. Hi, Derek. Yeah, we've already discussed stuff that definitely you would find hilarious and inappropriate. So, yeah, definitely check it back later. good to see you, and thanks for popping in for the second or two to say hello. All right, let's see. So I think I'm going to do this one silver because I would imagine that is the silver mix cup. I'll dump some ice in it later. So for that, I'm going to use some grays and some silvers. I'm going to start just with a 30% cool gray, which has a sort of silvery look to it. I use this actually a lot when I'm doing silver. Because this with like various, like depending on the pressure, you can get some lights and darks. So it looks pretty good like silver normally on its own. But I want to do a little bit more than that. So I'm not going to use this 70% cool gray. And it's a Verithin, which is a thinner, slightly harder version of, it's a Prismacolor, one of their different pencil sets. I use these, they're obviously thinner, you can get a better point, they last a little bit longer. I used to use these when that year and a half, 2 years where I was trying to do a daily cartoon, when I wanted to color some of the panels, because it made it easier with the tiny details that I would draw to use these. So, but they don't have quite the same creaminess that the Prismacolor Premier has. So I don't use those as much now, but I do like using this gray one and other gray ones sort of when I'm trying to create a silver / metal effect. And then I'm going to go in with the Silver Premier to sort of add a little bit of a sort of shine effect. Again, that sort of helps create the illusion of sort of silver metal of chrome. Should have turned my Alright. So somebody on Discord sent me a message, and it was work related, so I had to at least read it to make sure it wasn't something I need to deal with later. I apologize for that. It'd be nice to just turn Discord off, but unfortunately on Monday through Friday, sometimes I do need to keep an eye. Even though I'm not out doing my day job, I still sometimes have to look at stuff. There we go. Alright. That's pretty silvery looking. Excellent. Alright. There's this bottle right here. I think for that I'm going to do a super light blue. And the blue I'm going to use is pretty much almost dead, so I need to, instead of an electric sharpener, I have to use the little old-fashioned, before the electronics and internet of the world, pencil sharpener. And use the pencil extender. And this is a sort of lighter, brighter blue. I'm going to use that for this. It's far enough away from Skeletor that it won't clash too much with him, and it's a different enough shade that it's not going to be a questionable choice. Again, I'm not going to do a lot of sort of different colors with this one. I'm just going to use this one blue, but at different pressures so that I get, excuse me, get some beverage so that I can talk. And just get some different textures and consistencies here, which helps make it look like the light's reflecting off of it and give it sort of that real world look that a lot of the bottles would have. You don't necessarily go for realism. There are a lot of, if you look on YouTube, there are a lot of people who teach how to make things look real. I mean, there are other things where I sort of want that look. And for masters, for what I do, because it's almost all toward, even with the Star Wars stuff, I try to go for more of a you know, sort of cartoon toy look, because you know, everything I'm doing is mostly based on old toy lines or exist in my wheelhouse because I love toys from the 70s and 80s. Yeah, I love the Star Wars movies, but I'm pretty sure if not for all those toys, I would not love Star Wars like I love Star Wars. I think that's true for most of us at this certain age. Star Wars is because of all those toys that we loved and how it hit us in the imaginations. And I'm just gonna do this like in a dark, almost black gray, which will help me get some texture to it, but also because I would assume this is like it's a cauldron, and if you've never had a cauldron, sort of the black, like those black skillets that my grandmother had 2 or 3 of those black skillets. The cast iron black skillets that was what she made fried chicken in and bacon and all the things. It's pretty much what you're going to want your cauldron to be made out of, so that when you're boiling eyeballs and stuff to make your spells, it doesn't get too hot and, you know, burst or melt or whatever. Don't use one of those candy cauldrons you get at Halloween to make your spells, because the chemicals will melt. Some advice from Skeletor. I'm just gonna do like this because it is supposed to be like cast iron, that black stuff. You know, I don't know why my mind is blanking on what that's called. But let me go in really rough at first for the outside. Just getting all over texture. And now just sort of go back over it. And do sort of different directions, so it sort of creates a texture on top of the earlier texture I did. But again, that sort of helps give it that look that a lot of like this type of cauldron would have. Alright, I'm wrapping this sort of up. So I think the cauldron is got enough gray down that it looks black enough without using black. Alright, there we go. Okay. Let's see. So I imagine that whatever this is what he's pouring in on this side. So I'm gonna figure out what that is. We've got slime here, cold cream here, more slime here. So I need this to be slightly different. And this is also starting to feel sort of a little not quite as colorful as I would like. So I am going to, where's it at? I'm going to make whatever that is red. So we're going to have some like molten red stuff in there. And then I'll make sort of the smoke red. That means this that he's pouring in right there is also maybe that red. Alright, for the smoke, I'm just going to go in lightly with this. It's called Scarlet Lake. Let's go in and do some squigglies to start with. Just to make the smoke. Well, more like fumes. We're going to call this fumes. It's like the aroma of whatever this red stuff is. Imagine it smells like sulfur and old potatoes. That's probably what most of Snake Mountain smells like: potatoes, sulfur. A merman, after he's been out of the water too long, probably gets a really like fishy aroma. It's probably not pleasant. Skeletor doesn't have like, I would assume he doesn't have like much of a sense of smell. You know, and I would hope, because he, you know, hangs out with Stinkor all the time. You kind of not have to have a pretty good sense of smell to be friends with Stinkor. Okay, and then for the smoke, I'm also going to use this orange. It's pale vermilion, so it has this sort of reddishness to it that some of the other oranges don't. So that'll go well with this sort of red that I used to do the smoke. Go in and move it around, blend it, give that look. Right, no, Menudo. I found out a few years ago what was in Menudo, and I can't, not the band, the actual, like, food. And I almost felt like I was being trolled, because as an American, United States version, we're taught often to act mortified when we hear about certain ingredients, even though I grew up in the South where people eat Nutri-Rats. But you know, they would certainly have made fun of Menudo there, both the band and the food, even though they ate rats. So, go figure. Do you make Menudo, Tony? I bet you have a great Menudo recipe. If I ever go to Arizona again on purpose, I will give you enough planning so you can make your Menudo. And that way, at least if I don't like it, I know it's not because it was badly made, but it's just my taste buds do not agree with it. Because I had somebody make chitlins for me one time, and it was a bad experience, and I thought I hated them. And then I had somebody make them later, and I was like, okay, these aren't awful. These are actually almost tasty. So definitely having somebody who knows what they're doing when they make stuff is going to make it a better experience. I'm going to go in with this neon yellow now. Sort of do the orange and the red for this smoke together. I'm going to make it look a little bit more fiery, which is fine. So I'm not going to do any sort of gray or brown to make it look like smoke. I just want it to be more like steam or fumes. And believe it or not, I don't use actually a lot of neon yellows. It's kind of fun to actually get to use neon. What I need, like what I need is like I can go buy at the grocery store. If so, I would still trust that because like that's pretty good. I'm sure. Hello, Hyperdelic. Just chatting, talking about food and my usual, amount of sarcasm, sass, shit talk about people without necessarily being blatant about it. We did talk about when I did the little green slime here on the table, I did talk about my friend Pam from college who had a little bit of slime in her too in the middle. But yeah, just chilling. It's Friday. I'm gonna go to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard. Pacific Standard. It always sounds like I'm saying specific wrong when I say Pacific. So about another, 45-ish minutes. So I most definitely am not going to get to the other page for today with He-Man and Sorceress, but I'm going to be able to finish this Skeletor. So, which is cool. This was the main thing I wanted to do today. It's a pretty cool page. And just sort of something we don't see a lot of Skeletor. We don't see a lot of him making potions or doing magic. He's often using objects, or he's got Evil Lyn doing the magic side. So there we go. The fume / magic / whatever this is. It looks suitably fiery and almost hellish to me, which, is good. And since I did that over there, and this is a combination of two things, I'm going to go back in with the red that I used over here and do this on this side, which is where the red from here is going. And again, I'm just going to do that loosely and way less of it up in here because this is where it's going to combine with whatever happens over here. Again, just real loose. Need to be full because it is some sort of fume / smoke anyway. So if it's not super a lot of red, it's okay. So it doesn't need to be. And pale vermilion. I'm gonna sharpen that real quick. Again, I'm not going to do a lot, especially up in here, to make it super bright or super orange. Just so that it has enough of this color that it sort of sells that this is from that cauldron. I'm going to put a little bit more down on the bottom because it would be more concentrated right in here where it's going in sort of its pure form. Right. And then I'm going to go back with the yellow neon just so that it's consistent still. Oh, no, that works. I'm going to sort of do the neon yellow out beyond the red and the orange because I'm going to want it to blend into whatever I end up doing over on this side. So will sort of help with the blend. As it sort of shows that it's neon a lot more once it's not being used to sort of mix the red and the orange. So actually kind of like how that looks. Maybe I'll do the rest of this in that neon. Not a bad idea. And it would really pop and stand. And I also have a neon green. No, it's a chartreuse. But I bet this neon yellow with that chartreuse would make a pretty decent. I was like that would make a good sort of a blend. Maybe that's what I'll do. But I have a few minutes to think about it because I need to do this file. I'm just going to go again with the sort of metal look. Use these grays to get that metal-ish look. Okay, that's pretty done. Just a little bit. Let me get some coffee. So yeah, I think I'm gonna and this is gonna be slime, and then I'm gonna use the neon yellow and some green for this side of it. Hopefully it will work out. We'll see. And if not, you know, at least I tried. So starting with the spring green and then just that chartreuse again on top of it, which helps create that sort of glow effect. Right? Yeah. And then I'm just going to do the same effect that I did on this one on what's in his hand here. No sense in reinventing the wheel. And then if I did a different color at this point, it would be too busy, I think. Definitely want to avoid that. I'm going to go back in with the sort of grass green that I used down here, just to sort of give it an outline to do the suggestion that it's in some sort of a bottle. The autofocus on my phone isn't doing too terribly today. Usually it hates us all way more than that. Oh, yep, it's showing up pretty good. Ready to go autocorrect. I mean autofocus. Yep. That does sound like Skeletor, you know. He is a bad guy. And I'm just gonna go in with the spring green now and start doing the fumes. And I'm gonna do the same thing I did over here with like the red and orange. I'm gonna do it really loosely. I don't need it to be super concentrated and green. So enough so that the vibe, so the color is sort of there. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now, chartreuse. Let's get that glowy look again. It's time to sharpen this one. At some point today, I may actually already be there. I haven't checked my notifications for my from our mailbox, but at some point today I'm expecting a delivery from Hello Dope Toys with a couple cartoon collection Tilas in it. So that is actually exciting. She's the one I wanted most out of the cartoon collection, and the way they did her, I'm going to be able to do some customs with her. So if you tried to go to Hello Dope Toys and buy the cartoon collection Tila and you couldn't, I apologize, but I desperately needed 3. I needed 1 just to be Tila for my collection, and the other 2 so I could steal her torso, which sounds kind of demented and psychotic, but oh well. Yeah. But so that I can do some body part swap so that I can do a couple customs with it. I need to I'm almost to a point where I you know, like I've got plenty of shorts done. I need to finish editing a couple more videos, and once I do that, I'll have my long form video stuff set for about a month or 2, and in that time I'm gonna work on custom stuff other than my live streams on Sundays and on Fridays. But outside of that, I'm not going to have to film a lot of coloring stuff for a little bit, so I'm going to figure out customs, because I haven't been happy with the format I keep coming up with for custom work. I think what I want to do for that is sort of like how I did that video for Castle Grayskull, where I talked a little bit about the history up until the point of the kid stuff book. I think I might do that for customs, where I do like a history of the character that I'm making and then sort of end it with the custom. I know that I want to do tutorials. There are so many people who do tutorials and they do them really well, and I don't know if that's something I actually, you know, want to do. I also like, for instance, Motu Origins, I pop the figure apart, I switch all the pieces, and then it just sits there for a while. That's, you know, sort of step 1. Then I'll go in and start painting it, but I don't always finish the painting for weeks. I'll paint a little bit, let it dry, let it sit. So it would, you know, just as far as filming, that's a lot of time that I would forget, you know, where everything is. So I think I'm going to go that way, where I just, when I'm finished with the custom, I did this with on tongue lasher. So for those of my friends in the chat, Tony, and Chris, if you haven't watched my tongue lasher video, if you could go check it out, because at the end of it I threw in my Snake Trooper custom, and I put like the recipe on the video itself, like on the screen. So if you could watch that, since you guys also do customs, and tell me if like that, as a customizer, if that would make you like, would be sufficient, because if so, that might be the direction I go. Anyone watching, actually, if you are interested at all in custom stuff, please check that video out and let me know. A couple months back, but let me know if that format would work for you with sort of with the custom stuff, because it's kind of what I want to do, but I also like, I can just do history videos without a custom figure as well. I can just throw a coloring video, you know, coloring page of that character in it. But I do want to figure out some way to work the customs and more custom work into my content, because it was one of the things I started this channel wanting to do, was sort of all the aspects of how to do art with your toys and your favorite toy lines. So yeah, anyway, if you don't mind, if you have time, it's like 5 or 6 minute long video. But anyone watching, let me know what you think, if you would enjoy more custom content like that. Otherwise, I might just do custom stuff on Instagram. I don't know yet. Alright, I got the neon yellow in there, and I think that looks pretty. It's a good evil looking smoke, fumes, what have you, coming out of it. The chemical reaction. So I'm gonna go in now and do sort of the bright green bubbles to represent, get some neon ones too, neon yellow ones too, to represent how toxic and the toxicity of Skeletor. You know he's toxic, guys. He's like the worst. He's the most toxic man you'll ever meet. Alright. Got some little chemical bubbles floating there in the sky. It's not too shabby. No worries, Cobb. If I were gonna set mine up, that's probably what I would have done today instead of this. Yeah. There's that. It looks like I missed a little chat. Okay, yeah, alright, that was just a response. Yeah, Origins I'm a little behind on too. You haven't actually missed any yet, so feel free to make them, because the rest of us, yeah, nobody's even mentioned meth or asked what trailer he's in, so that, you know, we can all go to the other trailer at the end of the park, so when he goes out, we're safe. Which honestly should have been our first question, because you always want to be the farthest away. And I say that as somebody who grew up, I mean, it was a fancy trailer, but it was a trailer park. So we had the neighbor who, you know, that's what they were doing, because it stunk, because there's a chemical smell to it. You know, and I remember my mom often being like, he's gonna blow us up tonight. Although my mom did not speak in a southern accent. I don't know why I just gave her one. She would have been mortified if she was still with us. But since she's dead, I can give her a southern accent. She can't do nothing now. Well, she could possibly haunt me, but I would hope she has something better to do in the afterlife than worry about what I'm saying about her. So I'm gonna go in with the black and give Skeletor his little furry shorts. And just give the texture to it. I'm not gonna make it all black. Just go in, do some little stripy looks. So there's just not a massive, you know, all black or whatever. So that you get their sort of fur or whatever. Had somebody recently make fun of, like a friend make fun of all the furry shorts in Motu, and I was just like, well, it's, you know, and I was like, yeah, it is kind of weird, but it's the same thing how we're going to make fun of this capri pants you're wearing in like 20 years. And then I looked at it, I'm like, I'm going to make fun of them as soon as I get home, but, you know, for most people, I don't think she saw the humor in my statement, but whatever. She certainly should not be wearing capri pants in this weather, because it is definitely not warm enough for that much ankle. And so, but you know, whatever. She likes her capri pants when it's cold. At least she was wearing shoes and not sandals, or white shoes after Labor Day. We lost it. So yeah. I'm going to use this super dark purple for the belt. They did not draw him with his little skirt he wears, but they give him the belt from it. So I'm going to sort of, instead of doing the belt as if it's his black belt, I'm just going to do this as if it detaches from his little skirt thingy with the flaps in the front. So we can't keep, you know, everything aired out, because I would assume that of the skin Skeletor has left, it's all below the neck. And then he has those like fish feet, so like I would assume it gets pretty swampy down there if you don't air it out. So it sort of makes sense, you know, that the little flaps probably work as fans to help fan it out. So I do feel bad for people downdraft of Skeletor, but otherwise. Oh. It's true, exactly. And it's probably the real reason Evelyn's always mad at him. And I'm just gonna go on with this lighter purple and sort of use that sort of like for shading on the spout. There we go. That helps. Again, I'm really happy that for whatever reason today's StreamYard and the autofocus seem to be cooperating. It's like they're friends. Means there's less room for me to make mistakes today, y'all. There you go. Alright. Alright, I'm going to use this much lighter, this mulberry for his hood. I'm going to go in with a darker purple to shade it, but I want to sort of start with this lighter shade. I've colored so much Skeletor lately that it's like I just realized I wanted to have a little bit of adventure with his outfit. And not necessarily do it the same way I've done it every other time I've done it for the last couple of weeks. And it's weird, Skeletor was not my favorite character, like Evelyn and Tila, obviously. My other favorite villains were Merman, Triclops, Spikewar, and Too Bad. I don't like Skeletor was alright, but he was not my favorite. And I don't think I ever colored Skeletor pictures as a kid. Like I think I would color everything but Skeletor half the time. And here I am, a couple weeks into sort of working on this, 1984 coloring book project, and I have colored almost entirely Skeletors. If it were like something important in life, it would be ironic, but since it's just this, it's just oh, okay, so that happened. Now I'm gonna go in with this darker purple and sort of shade it and darken it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, like I didn't dislike Skeletor, he just didn't speak to me the same way. My brother loved Skeletor though. He would make his little friend next door be Skeletor when they would play. And he would of course always be He-Man. I remember they both had power swords, of course, because all the kids of the 80s of a certain age had those plastic role-play power swords. And there was one day over the summer I had to babysit, which I was not probably old enough to be babysitting, two very rambunctious 4-year-olds. But the garbage guys came and they were out playing He-Man, and they decided the garbage men were Skeletor and Spidor, so they were out there shaking their swords at the garbage men, telling them, "You won't get away this time, Skeletor." And garbage men did not know what to think, but that's fine. That's what happens sometimes. There we go. I like that. It's still obviously like purple, it's still obviously his colors, but it's not the same effing shade of purple I've been doing. So. Alright, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same sort of combo for this. And for whatever reason in this one, they didn't pop the bat in there, so I'm just going to color as if there's no bat. This is when Filmation Design started sort of sneaking into this particular coloring book. Some of these pages he has Filmation stuff, some pages he has toys, some I think the artist was just lazy and didn't draw anything that he didn't have to. And if the artist is alive and ever finds this and has something to say about it, certainly, talk to my people. We can figure it out. Have you come on and color a page with me? We can talk about why you were so lazy and didn't finish the drugs in the back there. Because I'm sure he's at an age where that's what he needs, is to come on the internet and get harassed for a picture he drew 40 years ago. Well, more than 40, because it would have taken about 6 months to a year for it to go through production to be printed and sent to stores, but you get what I'm saying. But to him was, and again, like back in the day, like if you were doing this kind of art, there was no expectation that in a year or two even, people would even be thinking about this stuff. This is sort of what's interesting to me about a lot of the 80s, 70s and 80s properties that we still love and collect all the stuff. So much of it was made to be, like, nobody thought we would still care about it. So it's like when people are like, I don't understand why the story is different. It's like the story was different because they were just making it up as they went, because there was no expectation any of the stuff would last more than a couple years. I mean, certainly at the end of the 80s when He-Man was sort of canceled, the toy line was canceled. It's not like they would have expected, you know, 10 years we'll have a new cartoon. Or else they wouldn't have done New Adventures the way they did. They would have just stuck to He-Man instead of trying to reinvent the property. And so, I don't know. It's just funny whenever I get feeling a certain kind of prickly around bad continuity in these old things that I'm like, but, you know, none of those people ever expected we would care about it into adulthood. I don't even think they were really adult. You know, like my grandmother collected dolls, but that was porcelain dolls. I remember there being like a huge, if any, sort of adult collector market back then. I mean, when my uncle turned like 15, I think it was when he was 15, my grandmother like boxed up all of his toys and gave them all to me, which I was way too young to, you know, like, he had like, there was this Jaws toy that they made. It was like a giant Jaws, and you like, it was kind of like Operation where you had to like use a hook to like get things out of Jaws' mouth before his jaw snapped shut. Like, I had that. And that came out in like 76, so I was like very, very youthful. Probably shouldn't have been. I don't know. I imagine that I got my hand stuck in that shark at least once, but I don't know. I can't. That's something that if my mom were alive, I would be like, hey, do you remember if this ever happened with that stupid shark? I do remember I broke that shark because it stuck around the toy box for a long time. Until we moved, and then my mom threw some of the broken toys away. One thing she was good at, like you hear, you know, like a lot of people have the stories about how their mom got rid of all their stuff. My mom would only throw stuff away that was broken. So, if not for hurricanes and flash floods, I would have all of my childhood stuff still. But alas. Right, I'm going to go in with this Parma Purple. Well, it's Violet, sorry. Parma Violet for some of Skeletor's armor. And do that as sort of, again, sort of a base color. And then I'm going to go in with the Mulberry and use that to sort of, so that way it matches this armor, but it's not exactly the same, so it doesn't all blur together. Okay, that's the worst. No, just kidding. That's the worst thing to me, is when it all blurs together and you can't actually tell what it is. Oh wow, it's almost 2 hour point too. About 15 more minutes. Wow. I shouldn't be surprised if that happens. It even happens when I have a guest on, but there's just a point where it's like time does a thing. It happened last week with Eldor, especially because Eldor's House of Grayskull art was so amazing. And then I blinked and it was like 2 hours. I was like, wow, how did that happen? Although I don't think I've been on a stream yet with anybody where that didn't happen. So I guess that's the indicator that I've mostly gotten, that I've enjoyed everyone who's been on the show on Sundays. And give them this red gem. And sort of use the paint to flush it out a little bit. There we are. Nice. Okay. All that's left is his face. So I accidentally used that neon. So I'm going to grab I get Deco Yellow, which is a much lighter yellow, and I'm going to use that. It will help tone down some of that, the neon. And it's closer to the yellow that I want for Skeletor's face. I do wonder sometimes if Skeletor has to get like, like you have those strips for your teeth, like from crust that helps whiten them. I wonder if they just don't make it, or if he's too lazy. But if they have like whiteners, like bone whiteners that he could be using on his face. It seems like it would be rude to ask him directly though. Let's go in with the green, because again, I don't think he cleans his face very much, so he's got some like mold and discoloration. And I'm going to use a slightly darker green with it. It's really quickly going to make sure that that's not a work thing. It's not. But it is a work thing. It's important to check in on this. All right. All right. I'm going to go in with a little bit of a darker green, just for the edges. I'm going to go back and sort of blend. Help give some consistent. Help give some like texture. And blend that out with the spring green. And back with chartreuse. And that helps sort of move it into the spring green and that grass green. And we use go back to sort of this yellow orange and use this around around the eyes. And I apologize. My allergies are starting to kick in, and I did not take allergies, so I'm getting a little mucusy, which is good. We're almost to the end anyway. So I'm gonna use this, especially sort of down on the teeth, because again, no crust, no bone whites, no crust whites. So it's lacking in the strips first. Thank you for saying that, Stanley. I appreciate it. I sometimes think of it's just insecurity, and we all have insecurities. So thank you for saying that to help me combat my own insecurity about jumping on the internet with opinions and a personality. Here we go. A little bit more to darken that. There we are. And for the eyes, yes, I'm going to use this black paint marker. Just I'm going to do that now so it has time to dry before I go in with other things. So I think I'm going to darken a little bit the outline of his face so that it stands out a bit more. There we go. Excellent. All right, that looks good. Just need that to dry. But while we're waiting for that to dry, I go through my many Prismacolor sets. Of course, the one I need is at the bottom of the others. Because, yeah. Crap. And then I'm going to use its Tuscan Red. I'm going to use that around his eyes. And then also, even in some of the sort of shadowy parts up in here, it helps give it some texture down around the teeth. Yeah, pulled it out, and I'm going to go back to this Deco Yellow, and I'm just going to use that to sort of smooth it and blend it. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Autofocus. All right, about the beginning of the face. Well, the face is done. I mean the eyes. So we're gonna go in and do that Skeletor Hellfire eye that he had in the early mini comics. Just go in with the yellow. I'm going to do it slightly as because he's at an angle, so it's not going to be straight ahead. It's not too much. I did one the other day where it looked like I was actually giving him eyeballs, which was not the look I wanted. Just quickly go in. Some uneven of the red. There we go. Now it looks like he's sort of looking at us like, what are you doing? Looking at me? That needs to dry. Alright, let's see. If he needs anything else, or if I'm just at that point where if I do anything else, it's too much. Should we go in around in here? Yeah. Alright. There we are. I think that looks pretty good. So, like, you know, not a bad Skeletor. I'm kind of not happy with how the hood came out, but I have an idea or two of how I can fix it. Let's do so after I have some lunch. Or right now. So right now. Because it was bothering me. But it would bother me less without food. And it also... Let's see. Yeah, it also looks like my Hello Joke thing has been delivered. So I'm going to just do this so that I can walk away from it and eat, and then go get that package, and then come back, finish up the little bit of tinkering I want to do, and then I will post this on Instagram. But yeah, So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because this is done. Obviously, with 5 minutes till 2 hours, I'm not going to be able to even start the other one, but that's fine. I'm going to put a picture of that on my community tab. I'm pretty sure everyone who's popped into chat today is a subscriber. If you're not, please subscribe. It helps the channel, but also it gives you a chance to vote in my community tab because I do polls as far as what pages I'm going to do. And the top vote getter is what I go with it. We'll post like 8 pages, and then the top 4 are the ones that I work on for streams. But I am going to post one of the sorceress and He-Man attacking, and I'll do it as a poll and with a couple different options of how I could do that page: short, color and chill, long form video, etc. Live stream, and then you just vote on it, and I'll do whatever gets the most votes. That's how I will do that page. And then there will also be next week 8 different pages that haven't been up before, I don't think, to vote on for the next Friday live stream that I do, which will be not next Friday, but the Friday after. So anyway, let's see what's coming up. Obviously, I do daily shorts. On Sunday, I have Corey from Make Shape Create. He's going to be joining me here on Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be coloring a He-Man and She-Ra that is his original art, which is great. Corey is one of my friends on YouTube. He does great work. If you haven't checked out Make Shape Create, please do. He does amazing custom work. But he's going to join me on Sunday. We're going to color his original art, and we're going to talk He-Man, She-Ra, his customs, etc. Definitely worth checking out. And then next week, there's a She-Ra color and chill video that will be happening. I have a longer form video in the works, but I don't know if it'll be finished in time. So I'm not going to talk about it until it's basically scheduled to hit. So I will let you know. Anyway, thank you everyone for showing up today. I know it's sort of a weird time, but it works for me, and it's good for me to practice not having a guest. Thank you very much, Stanley. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. I will see you all around, probably in chat tonight, either at Payne's Toy Samples, where he'll be interviewing Aaron the Toy Enhancer, or possibly either in chat or on screen if you are a member of a Punk with Toys membership. He's doing his members-only live stream tonight, so I will at some point participate in some capacity. So hopefully I'll see you all there. If not, I definitely will see you over the weekend in various chats. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, effort. Don't forget to hit the like. Subscribe if you haven't, but I know you all have, so I don't need to worry about saying that. Anyway, Allison Choi, Retro Toy Princess, out. Thanks.